Now you look at a nation like India, and that is the land of saints. That is the land of yogi. It absolutely is the land of masters. There's no doubt about it. You know, the sanctity of that nation goes to the center of the earth and then out into the infinity. They are producing saints. They are producing yogis. They are producing masters. It's a fact. It's a fact. It's in their bones. It's there. They might not have the material prosperity that the U.S. has, but they have profound spiritual prosperity. We have material prosperity. They have spiritual prosperity. See? And their producing of saints and masters and mystics, it's the arc of the effect will have a long arc. And each of those masters, each of those mystics, each of those saints, their effect will happen, it will go on for generations and generations, generations and generations. See? We can't say that yet with our engineering. You know, the effect of our engineering, our car might last 20 years, you know, and then we've got to replace it. But the spiritual insight that's been generated in the East, you know, will go on tens of thousands of years. It'll go on for eons. There's no breakdown. There's no replacements. You know, once those experiences are breathed into one's own spirit, one's own awareness, it's forever. It's forever. It doesn't go away. It doesn't break down. It doesn't decay. See? Both are necessary, but one is very short term. It's from cycle to cycle, you know, quarter to quarter in America. And the other is an arc of time. So now we'll talk a little bit about just this, start to develop a body of simple practices. So even when we wake up in the morning, you know, don't get out of bed right away, you know. Wake up, become aware, take a breath, you know, and then whatever your favorite name of God is, say that name. Ram, Ram, Ram Krishna, Hey Ma, Jai Ma, whatever, Jesus, Hey Buddha, whatever your favorite name of divinity is, say it. That'll become the key to open the morning. See, it's your first thought. See, before you dive into the chaos of life. And then if you have a favorite prayer, even while you're lying in bed, because that prayer also is a tool of intention. That whatever your favorite prayer is, and if you don't have a favorite prayer, either find one or write one. Either find one or write one. Because normally we get out of bed and we're just in this sort of get this done, and run. We didn't determine a thread or a type of context to the day. See? We just get up and run. I got to do this, I got to do that, So we didn't reorient ourselves to our root sanctity. So if you didn't remember that sanctity when you opened your eyes in the morning, then the rest of the day it's a bit helter-skelter because you didn't start off with that intention. See? So I'm saying to create an early morning intention where when you open your eyes, don't jump up right away. Take a breath and say God's name. And then say a prayer, because that prayer is the hidden inner psychic road for the day. You may be doing all of your executive stuff, all of your engineering stuff, all of your family planning, all the stuff that you have to do is there. But hidden behind it should be that prayer as part of your psychic context for the day. See? It's what that prayer in the name of God will form the environment in which you do all the other stuff. See? You got to get all the other stuff done. But instead of just a random context, do it in the context of, I started off prayerfully. I started off in remembrance. Every saint has mastered the art of persistent, constant remembrance of the divine. So you have to get that habit. You live and die by your habits. Okay? So that's an immediate, simple thing. And then you rush off to the bathroom. You clear your bowels, your bladder. You wash in the shower. And I remember when I'm throwing the water on my face, washing my face in the morning. So that water is splashing on my face. So I have that abundance of water, as we all do here in America. But I simply stop in my mind quietly. I say a prayer, may all have this. May all have this water. See? It's not just for me, but this is a gift from God. So, in our heart, we know the beauty of it. We want everyone to have it. We want everyone to have water, easily available. So, quiet prayer as we're washing our face. See? So after that, whatever element of life you consider sacred, whether you have a Guruji, whether it's the good intentions of your ancestors, whether it's elements of nature, everybody should have developed some type of a shrine in their house. So in the morning, or favorite saint, if you can't find a favorite saint, you're actually rather dull. It means you really haven't looked. You know, I'm just being honest. You know, start reading the lives of saints. You'll find someone that you think this is fantastic. You know, and if you don't, you haven't looked. You've been being very dull. So there should be some small shrine of that is truly inspirational to you. You know, and then light a candle, do a small arati. You know, wave a light before them in reverence. Because another thing is, there is no such thing as finding God without humility. If you don't have humility, just forget it. I'm being completely honest with you. Just forget the journey. Do something else. You know, go design a car. Write a program or something. Do something else. You're not ready. You know. In this country, unfortunately, but it'll come. It'll grow. This is part of what the Asian culture has to teach to the Western culture, is how to bow their heads, how to be humble, see, how to have a little bit of reverence. You know, the gurus, the teachers, we're all just like proxies. You know, why do you bow before a teacher? It's not that the teacher needs your bowing. He's dealing with the kingdom. He doesn't need your bows. But the teacher stands in as a proxy so that you learn, and it's not this clay pot. It's what's hidden in his or her heart that you're actually showing some reverence towards. See? So the teacher stands in as a proxy for the elements of God so that you can learn to humbly bow simplistically. There's no lessening of yourself. There's actually a magnifying of your spirit. See? But we bow with ego, so we think, oh, I'm bowing, I must be lesser. This is very juvenile, foolish. No insight. When you bow honestly, you're magnifying your spirit. See? You're giving your spirit an opportunity to manifest. You're minimizing your big ego, which is blocking you from seeing the kingdom. See? So everybody has to learn how to bow. You know? You go anywhere in Asia, you see everyone bowing before the teachers. And they've been doing it for tens of thousands of years. Do you think they've all been making a mistake? Or did they all find some element of spirit, whether knowingly or unknowingly, realizing that that is absolutely significant? See? When you see an image of Jesus on his knees in the Garden of Gethsemane looking up and praying, he's bowing before the kingdom itself. Before the kingdom itself. If that great soul can get down on his knees and bow, what about you? What about you? You know, get a heads up. You know, get a little humble. You know, if you want to know God, be humble. There's no such thing as a proud saint with his chest blown out. Not going to happen. There's no pride before that God. There's no pride before that. We're all tiny, infinitely small before that. See? So we have to learn that kind of humility. So doing a simple arati in the morning, waving a light before some image of sanctity, image of Krishna, image of Buddha, image of Jesus, you know, or a sacred scripture, you know, Quran, Bible, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, you know, something that inspires you to remember the kingdom. Do it. You live and die by your habits. You know, when you're in the last months of your life, if you don't have these habits, there's no time to develop them. And you're in the process of taking the next step to another realm. And you're going there with no tools. See? There's no boat. If you have acquiring these simple practices, you move from realm to realm to realm with ease. Not with struggle, not with fear, with ease. All the energies of these, if you've been bowing before God in the kingdom all these years, do you think heaven is going to forget you? Do you think heaven is going to forget you when you're moving to a next region? I don't think so. Not at all. See? Don't think when you bow that heaven's not paying attention. Every thought, heaven is observing. Every action, heaven is observing. See? In your time of need, that's what's going to come. You know, that loving humility that you offered will be reciprocated. And with loving humility, you'll be received. You see? You'll be received and brought to the next appropriate kingdom for you. See? You won't tumble in fear as so many people. They tumble into death. Tumble through fear, insecurity, not knowing. See? There's no stability. See? So again, that simple arati, waving a light before elements of the sacred, is really, really important. Again, anybody can do it. What's it take? 3 minutes? 2 minutes? See? But by doing that, you are cultivating your heart. You are cultivating your psyche. You are refining your nature. See? As human beings, we have to become beings of culture. First, it's common culture through the arts and such, and then sacred culture. See? That sacred culture allows you to move into the higher kingdoms. See? If you take a stone, a crude stone, and throw it up into the air, it'll fall back to the earth where it's appropriate. The air itself won't sustain it. It'll go to the appropriate region. It'll fall back to the earth. See? So your own nature, your own inner culture will take you to the next appropriate region. If you're developing sacred culture, you're going to go up, you're going to go up, you're going to go up. See? You feather your own nest. You know? Your own destination is created by you, consciously or unconsciously. Your next destination is created by you. So the arati is important practice. That is, you have more time. You should find some appropriate mantra. Om Shri Rama Jai Rama Jai Jai Rama. Or Gayatri. Om Bhuvasvaha Om Tat Savitur Varenyam Bargo Devashyadi Diyo Yonaha Prachodhyat. Whatever appropriate. Or the many Devi mantras. Ram mantras, Krishna mantras, Ganapati mantras, Hanuman mantras, Anjaneya, whatever. You know, find the mantra that's appropriate to your nature. That can be done a few ways by reading about the various saints and the mantras that they practice, and if you have some affinity for that particular saint, do that body of mantras. See? Or you ask some teacher. See? Like that. So, but just getting the habit of having mantra in your life. Mantra is a divine utterance. And if you incorporate it into your psyche, it takes the nature of your psyche and makes it like itself. Okay? That's part of the alchemy of mantra. It makes all of your psychic material like itself, which means sanctified. Also, mantra is a living vibrational door to the kingdom. So people are saying, well, I haven't had any experience with God. I don't know if God's there. I'm wondering about it. I hear about it, but I don't know about it. Well, you haven't set up the appropriate situation. By sitting each morning, or at some determined time during the day, and having a mala, a simple mala, and saying God's name 108 times, or the mantra 108 times, or 2 malas, 3 malas, 4 malas, whatever you can incorporate into your day simply. It's creating a vibrational link to the kingdom. So you say that mantra, Om Shri Rama Jai Rama Jai Jai Rama, Om Shri Rama Jai Rama Jai Jai Rama, Om Shri Rama Jai Rama Jai Jai Rama. And then you sit for 5 simple minutes. Because now you've called out to the kingdom. The next intelligent thing to do is be quiet and listen. See? It's like making a phone call, but not stopping to hear the other end. See? So you say God's name many times, and then sit quietly for 5 minutes and learn how to intuitively hear. See? Not hear through your psychological brain. That's not the facility that's being developed. You're learning how to spiritually, quietly listen. How to be still and listen. Why haven't you heard God? Because you have a very, very noisy head. You're thinking this, you're thinking that. This impulse is overtaking you. No quiet. So you say God's name, which purifies and pacifies you, and then you sit simply for 5 minutes, sit quietly, and listen. Don't get caught up in your thoughts. Don't get caught up in your feelings. Don't get caught up in your impulses. Just quietly listen for 5 minutes. Whatever you need to know, you will be informed. In that little bit of time, heaven will open its gates and give you what you need to know that day. You will be informed. Your nature, your character, your insight, you will be informed. Okay? Really simple. Not technical. Anybody can do it. Anybody can do it. See? So again, that's a simple practice. Utterance of God's name. Utterance of mantra. But you got to take it seriously. You got to take it seriously. How do you learn to take it seriously? Well, start reading biographies of saints and figure out how they became a saint. You'll find out there was either a radical persistent prayer or a radical persistent mantra, radical persistent meditation, or any combination of it. You'll find it in all of them. All of them. So, again, it's a heads up. If they've made this journey, don't you think it's a good idea to read their map? Instead of fumbling through on your own? Find someone who's been successful and get next to them. That's really simple. That's what you got to do. Whether they're current or in the past, they all leave, or many of them leave, a dialogue and a map and a process in which we can emulate. We can do their experiments, see, and find our own results. But you have to do the experiments honestly, see. So that mantra, and then even just simple 5 minutes. Later on, when you want to play deeper practices, then it's half hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, like that. But that's later, when you really got that. I want to do it. But you have to build up. Finding a favorite aspect of God is important. And it's actually sort of a fun search, especially in Hinduism, where there's, the vision is an infinite aspects of God and seeing the sanctity in all of them. So there's many, many, many names of God. Thousands and thousands of names of God. So it's sort of fun to look at the different meanings and then learn how to chant that. In the beginning, you're just sort of chanting with your head. But later on, this is a wonderful thing that happens. The moment you start to chant, you can feel it inside of your whole inner being starts to shake. It's really quite wonderful. You viscerally feel it. It's not just a thought. It's an experience. It's quite lovely. So, as you just surrender to the mantra, its meaning and its potency, let it do its own thing, and it'll happen inside you. So, during the course of the day, again, as human beings, we all experience fear, major and minor. Little insecurities is a type of fear. Or, I'm standing in the street and the bus driver doesn't see me and he's coming my way. That's like a big fear. Please stop the bus. That's a big fear. But instead of just experiencing fear and think, the bus driver saw me, I have another day. Instead of that experience, or all the micro insecurities that we have, that we feel, will they see me this way? Will they see me that way? Will they think of me this way? Will they talk about me that way? All that 10,000 little stings. Any time you have the arising of fear, simply say God's name. A lot of times you'll see my lips moving. Later on, there's more sophisticated ways of practicing. But I'll always be saying Ram Krishna, Ram Krishna, Ram Krishna, Ram Krishna. Like when I shake someone's hand and meet someone, it's instinctual. Ram Krishna, Ram Krishna, Ram Krishna. It's always there. That has nothing to do with, in that case, it's a type of blessing, but also it's a bridge. We're standing on a bridge. So if you're meeting a person, I want to meet them with God's name. See, and if there's various fears coming, the little thorns of life. Ram Krishna, Ram Krishna, Ram Krishna, Ram Krishna, Ram Krishna. See? So that you're changing the context. So it's not just fear. It's fear and the presence of God. So what's going to have the greater potency? You have to learn. See, we have the habit of letting ourselves emotionally rest in fear and being fearful. What if you say, okay, well, I'm going to add something to the mix. I'm going to add God's name. So instead of leaning to the left, I can lean to the right. The fear will be there, but I'm going to have a fearful state while I rest with God, while I stand with God. Hey Ram, Ram Krishna, Ram Krishna. Don't you think that's going to change the context of that fear? It certainly will. It certainly will. You're not just polluted with fear, but you're injecting a divine energy into that context. More clarity, more rest, more stability, more sanctity. See? Don't just experience by itself. Inject that divine energy. See? Over time, less and less fear. Because you're not on unstable ground. You're standing on the ground of the kingdom. The moment you utter God's name, you're standing on the ground of the kingdom. You're not standing on the ground of your fragile ego. See? Your minuscule vision. See? That's very unstable. Let God's name become your fundamental stability. So you say God's name in all contexts. See? In joyous moments and in fearful moments. It creates a sacred ground, a sacred context. See? It becomes part of your nature, part of your being. Am Krishna, Haricharan, Jaima. It's all good. It's all good. These are little things, but it's little things that make you more than a common human being. A common human being is a fragile, curious, fearful creature. You know? It's not what you are. Humanness is just a moment in your evolution. It's not the resolve. It's not the completion. It's just part of your evolution, the human experience. It's not where you're going to stop. See? It's just a moment of your experience through time. See? So, the whole yoga process is about evolution. Evolution of how do you say that? This expression of God, which is currently embodied, how does it have full knowledge of the truth? That's what we are. You know. Right now we're an unenlightened expression of God, unaware. But in the evolutionary process, we have to come to full awareness of God, or that reality, the reality. See? But one of the tools is to constantly say the name of God, so that we acquire a sanctified platform, and then over time we'll think, see, and experience through that sanctified platform. See? Right now we're thinking through a very random process. Everybody in this room, their minds are all completely different. Different experiences, different perceptions. There's no common platform that you're using. You know, there's no one stable program that you're using. You're all using whatever you made up along the way. But if we all, regardless of our infinite personal experience, if we all Ram Krishna, Ram Krishna, Ram Krishna, and understood the inner meaning of that, because you could be saying Jesus, 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 you could be saying Buddha, whatever. But if you understand the inner meaning of that, we all have a common platform at that point. We all have a common point of reference, a common point of understanding, a common point of sanctity. So if we have a common point of sanctity, where's the conflict? See? The conflict is no more there. It becomes like a garden of flowers, of infinite flowers. There's no conflict. They're just all different expressions of divine experience. But the context is sacred. See? So we have to slowly develop that inner culture. So why aren't the saints fighting with everybody? Because they're looking past your personality, past your ego, to the sanctity hidden within you. No conflict. Reverence and love. Because they're looking past, what you've done to what the kingdom has done. See? So there's no conflict. Gandhi moved from a common man to a saint, to a master. And he faced all the things of life, but he learned to look beyond the common mind to the sacred heart of man. And then there was no conflict anymore. Conflict ceased for him because he saw the heart, the sacred heart of man.